My family flew to Cancun on my wedding day. Their gift arrived at 6 a.m., my $15,000 custom dress, burned to ash, with a note, "Good luck getting married now, you selfish bitch." They posted beach photos with the caption "family vacation," minus the disappointment. So I got married anyway in a borrowed dress. Then I posted my wedding photos. My new husband's face was visible for the first time. Within 2 hours, I had 127 missed calls. My father's construction company lost every contract overnight. My brother was fired. My mother's charity position was revoked. Because my husband wasn't just wealthy. He was the son of the people who controlled everything in our city. Hey everyone, I'm Sophie Turner, I'm 29 years old, and I'm about to tell you the most insane, vindicating, and ultimately devastating story about family sabotage, wedding day revenge, and the moment my entire family realized they destroyed their own lives out of spite. This happened 8 months ago, but I'm still processing the absolute chaos that unfolded. So buckle up, because this story has more plot developments than a telenovela. Let me start by explaining my family dynamic, because it's crucial to understanding why they did what they did. I'm the youngest of 3 children. My older brother, Marcus, is 35, he works in sales at a mid-level tech company and has always been the golden child. My sister, Vanessa, is 32, she married a wealthy lawyer and lives in a McMansion in the suburbs. And then there's me. Growing up, I was the weird one. The artsy one. The one who wanted to study literature instead of business. The one who didn't fit the mold my family had designed. My parents, Robert and Linda Turner, are social climbers. My dad owns a small construction company that services high-end clients. My mom volunteers for every prestigious charity in our city to maintain her social status. Appearances are everything to them. When I graduated college with a degree in English literature, my father literally said, "What are you going to do with that? Teach? You'll be poor forever." I didn't become a teacher. I became a content writer, then a copywriter, and eventually built my own boutique marketing agency specializing in luxury brands. By 27, I was making $250,000 a year. But because I worked from home in leggings and didn't have a real office, my family treated my success like it didn't count. "It's not a real job, Sophie. You write Instagram posts." Meanwhile, Marcus was praised for his $85,000 sales job, and Vanessa was celebrated for marrying money rather than making it herself. Then, 2 years ago, I met James. I met him at a coffee shop. He was reading a book, actual literature, not a business memoir. We started talking about the book, then about everything else. He was intelligent, kind, funny, and we connected instantly. We dated for a year before he told me about his family. "Sophie, there's something I need to tell you. My family is complicated. They have money. A lot of it. And that changes how people see me." "How much money are we talking?" He named his last name. And I froze. James was James Whitmore. As in, the Whitmore family. His father, Richard Whitmore, owned Whitmore Industries, the largest real estate development company in our state. His mother, Catherine Whitmore, sat on the board of every major cultural institution in the city. The Whitmore family wasn't just wealthy. They were dynasty wealthy. Forbes list wealthy. Buildings named after them wealthy. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because I wanted you to know me. Not my family's money. Not the name. Just me." I understood. And I fell in love with him more deeply for it. When I introduced James to my family 6 months into our relationship, I downplayed his background. I said he worked in real estate development and left it at that. My family was typically judgmental. My dad made some comment about another office drone and my mom asked if he made decent money. James, to his credit, was humble and kind. He didn't flaunt anything. He drove a normal car, dressed casually, and never mentioned his family's wealth. After a year and a half together, James proposed. It was perfect, intimate, heartfelt, everything I wanted. When I told my family, they were underwhelmed. Finally, my mother said, "I was worried you'd end up an old maid with your little online business." I showed them the ring, a beautiful vintage sapphire that had belonged to James's grandmother. My sister Vanessa scoffed. "Is that sapphire? Sophie, you're supposed to get a diamond. Did he cheap out on you?" "I chose sapphire. I love it." "Of course you did. Always trying to be different." Planning the wedding became a nightmare. My family had opinions about everything and paid for nothing. They wanted a huge wedding at an expensive venue. I wanted something intimate. They wanted 300 guests. I wanted 50. They wanted to invite all their social climbing friends. I wanted people who actually cared about us. Finally, James and I decided to pay for our own wedding. We'd have it our way, small, elegant, meaningful. We booked a beautiful historic mansion, hired an amazing photographer, and planned a ceremony for 60 close friends and family. We sent invitations 3 months in advance. 2 weeks before the wedding, my family started acting weird. My mother kept making comments, "Are you sure you want to marry him? You barely know his family." My father, "Sophie, have you thought about a prenup? What if he's not as financially stable as he claims?" "Vanessa, I heard his real estate development job is actually just managing apartment complexes. That's basically a landlord, Sophie. You're marrying a landlord." "Marcus, I looked him up online. He doesn't have much of a presence. Are you sure he's not hiding something?" I assured them everything was fine. James and I were adults. We knew what we were doing. Then, 1 week before the wedding, my mother called. "Sophie, we need to talk about the wedding." "What about it?" "Your father and I think you're making a mistake. This man, James, we don't think he's right for you." "Mom, I'm marrying him in a week. This conversation is 6 months too late. We're just concerned. And frankly, we think you're being selfish." "Selfish how?" "You've planned this whole wedding without considering our input. You've excluded people we wanted to invite. You've made it all about you." "Mom, it's my wedding. It's supposed to be about me and James." "See? That's exactly the selfish attitude we're talking about." The conversation deteriorated from there. She said if I went through with the wedding as planned, without making it more inclusive of their friends and preferences, they'd be very disappointed. I told her I was going through with it regardless. She hung up on me. The next day, I got a group text from my entire family: "Marcus, Vanessa, Mom, and Dad. We've decided to take a family vacation during your wedding week. We need to bond and reconnect as a family. We'll send our best wishes, but we won't be attending your wedding. We hope you understand." I stared at that text for 10 minutes. They were boycotting my wedding. My entire family. I called my mother. "Are you serious? You're not coming to my wedding?" "Sophie, we've made our decision. You've made yours. We need to prioritize family unity. I'm your family. You stopped being family when you chose a stranger over us." I was devastated. I cried for hours. James held me and told me it was their loss. But here's the thing, I'm stubborn. I come from a family of stubborn people, and I'd inherited that trait. So I decided, fine. They want to skip my wedding? I'll have the most beautiful wedding without them. The day before my wedding, my family posted photos from the airport. Big smiles. Caption: family vacation time. Sometimes you need to get away and focus on what really matters. #family first #Cancun bound. The shade was intentional. Everyone who saw it knew they were skipping my wedding. Then, on my wedding day, at 6 a.m., a delivery arrived at the venue. It was a large box, wrapped in white paper, with a tag that said "From your family." I thought maybe they'd sent a gift as an olive branch. Maybe they felt guilty. I opened it. Inside was ash. Charred fabric. Burned remnants of what had been fabric. And a note, handwritten in my mother's distinctive script: "Good luck getting married now, you selfish bitch. Let's see how you walk down the aisle in this. Hope it was worth it. The family you abandoned." My hands were shaking as I dug through the ash. There were remnants of beading, bits of lace. And then I found the label. It was my wedding dress. My custom $15,000 wedding dress that I'd had designed specifically for this day. The dress that had been hanging in the bridal suite at the venue, which my mother had keys to because she claimed she wanted to help set up the day before. She'd stolen my dress, burned it, and sent me the ashes on my wedding day. I called her. It went straight to voicemail. I called my father. Voicemail. I checked their social media. They'd posted beach photos from Cancun an hour earlier. Caption: paradise. So glad we chose family bonding over family drama. #no regrets #beach life. I sat on the floor of the bridal suite, surrounded by ash, and I cried. My maid of honor, Jessica, found me. "Sophie, what happened?" I showed her the box. The note. The remnants of my dress. "Oh my God. Your family did this." I nodded, unable to speak. Jessica's face hardened. "Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're getting you married today. Screw them." "Jess, I don't have a dress. The wedding is in 5 hours. Leave it to me." Jessica made phone calls. Within 2 hours, she called in every favor she had. A friend of a friend ran a bridal boutique. They opened early. We rushed over. The owner, Maria, was horrified by what happened. "This is on the house," she said. "No one deserves this on their wedding day." She had a sample dress in my size, a gorgeous, elegant gown, different from what I'd planned but absolutely stunning. It fit perfectly. Maria, I can't accept this for free. Yes, you can. Get married. Be happy. That's payment enough. We rushed back to the venue. Hair, makeup, everything happened in a blur. And then, at 2 p.m., I walked down the aisle. Without my parents. Without my siblings. But surrounded by friends who loved me. And toward a man who'd spent the morning reassuring me that I was worth everything, that my family's cruelty said everything about them and nothing about me. The ceremony was beautiful. Intimate. Perfect. But I was angry. Deeply, painfully angry. So during the reception, I did something petty. Something calculated. Something I knew would detonate their lives. Up until this point, I kept James's family background quiet. We'd had small, intimate gatherings. His parents had been respectful of our desire for privacy. They came to the wedding, but I hadn't really publicized who they were. But now I was done protecting my family from their own ignorance. I posted wedding photos on social media. Beautiful photos of me and James. Photos of us with his parents, Richard and Catherine Whitmore. Photos clearly showing the Whitmore family crest that was subtly incorporated into the wedding decor. Photos with captions that casually mentioned the Whitmores and tagged their public family foundation accounts. I made sure anyone who looked could clearly identify exactly who I'd married into. Then I waited. It took less than 2 hours. First, the likes and comments from people in our city who recognized the Whitmore name. Congratulations. Shock. Wait, Sophie married into the Whitmore family. Then, the calls started. My phone lit up. 23 missed calls. 47 missed calls. 89 missed calls. My mother. My father. Marcus. Vanessa. Then extended family. My aunt. My uncle. Family friends. All calling, frantically, as they realized what had happened. I didn't answer. I was dancing with my husband at my reception. But Jessica, wonderful Jessica, was monitoring the fallout. Sophie, you need to see this, she said, showing me her phone. My family had deleted their Cancun vacation posts. Every single one. My mother had posted a new photo, missing my baby girl on her special day. So proud of my Sophie. #wedding day #proudmom. The comments were vicious. Didn't you post that you were in Cancun during her wedding? You literally called this a family vacation to avoid her wedding. The hypocrisy is unreal. My father had posted, congratulations to my daughter Sophie and her husband James on their wedding. Welcome to the family, son. #father of the bride. The comments, you weren't even there. You're celebrating now that you found out who he is? Gold digger energy, but make it parents. It was brutal. And public. And entirely their own doing. But the real fallout came Monday morning. James's father, Richard Whitmore, was not just wealthy. He was connected. Whitmore Industries had business relationships with almost every major company in our city, including my father's construction company. My father's biggest client, the one responsible for 60% of his annual revenue, was Whitmore Industries. They'd been subcontracted to work on several Whitmore development projects. Monday morning, my father received notice that all contracts with his company were immediately terminated. No explanation. Just termination. His other major clients, all of whom had business relationships with the Whitmores, followed suit over the next week. Within 10 days, my father had lost 80% of his business. Marcus worked for a tech company. A tech company that was in the process of being acquired by a larger company. A company that Richard Whitmore sat on the board of. Marcus was fired. Officially for performance issues. But everyone knew. My mother's charity positions, her entire social identity, were on boards where Catherine Whitmore had influence. She was quietly asked to step down from 3 boards. Then 4. Then all of them. Vanessa's husband, the wealthy lawyer? His law firm did business with Whitmore Industries. He didn't lose his job, but he came home and had a very direct conversation with Vanessa about how her family's behavior had jeopardized his professional relationships. Within 2 weeks, my entire family had been professionally and socially destroyed. And they knew exactly why. My mother finally reached me on day 12. I answered. Sophie, please. We need to talk. Now you want to talk? We didn't know. We didn't know who James was. We didn't know his family. Would it have mattered if he wasn't wealthy? Would you have treated me better if he was just a normal guy? Silence. That's what I thought. You burned my wedding dress, Mom. You sent me ashes with a note calling me a bitch on my wedding day. We were angry, you were cruel. And petty. And you tried to ruin the most important day of my life because I didn't plan my wedding according to your preferences. If you'd known he had money, you would have pretended to approve. But you would have still been the same shallow, controlling people you've always been. The only difference is you would have hidden it better. Sophie, please. Your father's business is failing. Marcus can't find work. I've lost all my board positions. Our reputation is destroyed. That's not my problem. That's a consequence of your actions. But James's family, they're punishing us. Actually, they're not. Richard and Catherine didn't make a single call. They didn't have to. When word got out that the Turner family had sabotaged their new daughter-in-law's wedding, burned her dress, sent her ashes, skipped the ceremony out of spite, people made their own decisions. You destroyed your own reputation, Mom. The Whitmores didn't have to do anything. This was true. I'd later learn from James that his father had made exactly 0 calls. He'd simply let the information exist. And the business community, the social circles, everyone who valued relationships with the Whitmore family, had made their own choices about association. My family had sabotaged themselves. The Whitmores were just the context that made everyone else see who my family really was. Sophie, you're our daughter. You have to help us. I'm the daughter you called selfish. The daughter whose wedding you skipped. The daughter whose dress you burned. I don't have to do anything. I hung up. Over the next few months, the situation got worse for them. My father's business went bankrupt. He had to sell the company for almost nothing just to cover debts. Marcus couldn't find work in our city, his name was poison in professional circles. He eventually moved 3 states away to start over. My mother had a breakdown. The woman whose entire identity was built on social status and charity boards had lost everything. She ended up in therapy, which honestly was probably the best thing for her. Vanessa's marriage became strained. Her husband resented her family for jeopardizing his career and made it clear he'd choose his job over her relatives any day. My extended family reached out, trying to mediate. Sophie, they're suffering. Isn't that enough? They're family. They stopped treating me like family long before I married James. I didn't cause their suffering. Their own cruelty did. 6 months after the wedding, my mother sent me a letter. A physical letter, handwritten. It was 8 pages long. She apologized. Really apologized. Not I'm sorry you were hurt, but I'm sorry I hurt you. She detailed every cruel thing she'd done, every way she'd failed me as a mother, every time she'd prioritized appearances over my well-being. She explained that she'd grown up poor and built her entire identity around climbing socially. That she'd pushed that same obsession onto her children. That she'd seen my independence and different path as a rejection of her values, and she'd lashed out. I burned your dress because I wanted to hurt you the way I felt hurt, she wrote. I wanted you to feel powerless and abandoned like I felt when you chose your own path. I wanted to punish you for not needing me, for not valuing the things I valued. But all I did was destroy my relationship with my daughter and reveal who I really am to everyone who mattered. I'm sorry, Sophie. I'm so deeply sorry. The letter continued with descriptions of therapy, of realizations about her own mother's similar behavior, of patterns she was trying to break. I don't expect forgiveness, she concluded. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that losing everything, the business, the social standing, the reputation, hurt less than realizing I lost you. That I drove you away. That on the day you needed your mother most, I was the monster who tried to destroy your happiness. I'll spend the rest of my life regretting that. I cried reading that letter. Ugly cried. James held me. What do you want to do? I don't know. Here's where the story gets complicated, because real life isn't a clean narrative with satisfying endings. I didn't immediately forgive my mother. But I did agree to meet her for coffee 2 months after receiving the letter. She looked different. Older. Tired. Humbled. We talked for 3 hours. She didn't make excuses. She didn't ask for anything. She just listened when I talked about the pain she'd caused, the years of feeling inadequate, the wedding day trauma. I can't undo it, she said. I can only promise to be better going forward. And I understand if you never want me in your life again. I didn't make any promises that day. But I didn't close the door entirely either. Over the next few months, we met occasionally. She was in intensive therapy. She'd started volunteering at a women's shelter instead of prestigious charity boards, actually helping people instead of networking. My father tried to apologize too, but his apology felt more about wanting help rebuilding his business. I declined further contact with him. Marcus sent a short email, I'm sorry for my part in everything. I understand if you don't want to hear from me. It felt sincere but distant. I replied with a brief acknowledgement but didn't pursue contact. Vanessa never apologized. She doubled down, claiming I'd destroyed the family by marrying James. We haven't spoken since. 8 months after my wedding, my mother met James for the first time since everything happened. She was nervous, humble, and genuine. James, I owe you an apology too. I judged you without knowing you. I treated my daughter horribly because I didn't think you were good enough, when the truth is I wasn't good enough to be her mother. I'm sorry. James, gracious as always, said, what matters is how you treat Sophie going forward. The past is done. But the future is up to you. My relationship with my mother is rebuilding. Slowly. It'll never be what it was, too much damage. But it's something. Something honest, at least. As for my father, Marcus, and Vanessa, I have no contact with them. They made their choices. They face their consequences. James's family, the Whitmores, have been nothing but kind to me. They never mentioned the drama, never treated me with anything but respect and love. Catherine told me once, family is who shows up for you, not who shares your DNA. You showed up for yourself when no one else would. That's strength. The viral wedding photos are still up. Sometimes I get messages from people who followed the drama. Most are supportive. Some think I overreacted, that I should forgive and forget. But I didn't cause this. I set a boundary, I planned my own wedding my own way. My family chose to respond with cruelty and sabotage. The consequences that followed were natural results of their actions being exposed. Would I do anything differently? Honestly? No. I protected myself. I married the man I love. I refused to be manipulated by people who valued control over my happiness. And when they tried to destroy my wedding, I let the world see exactly who they were. The fallout was their own doing. So here's what I learned from all of this. 1. Family doesn't get a free pass to abuse you just because you share DNA. 2. People who love appearances more than people will always crumble when the truth comes out. 3. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply let people face the natural consequences of their actions. 4. The right partner will stand with you through the worst family drama and never make you choose between your happiness and their approval. And 5. A wedding dress burned to ashes can't stop a wedding. But posting the photos can burn down the bridges your family took for granted. My family thought they were punishing me. Instead, they revealed themselves. And the city, the business community, the social circles they'd spent decades cultivating, saw exactly who they were. I didn't destroy them. They destroyed themselves. I just stopped hiding it for them. Thanks for watching, everyone. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment about your own wedding drama or family boundaries. Share this with someone who needs to hear that protecting yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. Until next time, remember that the people who try to sabotage your happiness are usually the ones who've never found their own. Stand firm. Live authentically. And never apologize for choosing yourself. This is Sophie Whitmore, formerly Turner, signing off. The daughter who married up in every way that actually matters: character, love, and respect.